I can't believe I'm on camera right now. There's so much going on in my life right now. I will get into it as we get into the video, but today we're gonna be doing trying new makeup, a bunch of really exciting stuff. I was not expecting this much exciting stuff to be coming out at the beginning of 2026. It was looking a little dismal at the end of 2025, you know what I mean? Everybody went on vacation pretty early in the holiday season, but I've also, I don't know, had some like niche interests that I've been buying more of lately that are also going to be talking about today. So the first thing is that Milk Makeup did send me my correct shades in this new Hydro Grip Gel Concealer. I have this in the shade 2 and 0.5. Then, actually, I'm gonna do this out of order here because it's like, I'm extremely excited about this. So I did get the shade Bespoke in the new release of the like full line from Merit of their lip blush. And spoiler, it's just as incredible as I remember it. Like, I've been texting all of my makeup friends about just how incredible this formula is. Then I also bought a bunch of brown blushes and also an eyeshadow. We've been talking about revisiting MAC. MAC is just doing things that I feel like everyone kind of wants to return to right now. And I've been watching some channels talk about like dupes for discontinued products as well. And so that inspired me to buy a bunch of these MAC products. First of all, I got Sunbask, which I would not call a beige at all. This was like, I bought this for nostalgia purposes because this is the blush that I got when I was 18 and I wore to death. And it is like this sparkling coral kind of color. This I swatched in store and they didn't have it in stock, and so I bought it online because it's just such a freaking weird color. As you can see, it's like automatic hard pan. I don't understand this formula, but this is the matte powder blush in Blunt. It picks up on a brush, but it hates to swatch on your finger, so that's why it looks like that. Then I got Harmony. This was when I went to Ulta to touch things. They didn't have a lot of what I was looking for, but they did have a good selection of MAC blushes. So I got Harmony, and it looks like it's gonna be very beige, but it's actually still surprisingly warm, which this is surprisingly purple. I don't understand. I just don't understand what I'm looking at sometimes with MAC stuff. And then I was watching Daisy Cash talk about how this, the one that we were talking about in my beige blushes video, is one of the discontinued blushes. This is the Neo Nude Melting Color Balm for Cheeks and Eyes in the shade 20 from Armani. This doesn't exist anymore. You can't get this anymore. So she said that this was a dupe for it. This is Humor Me from MAC. And I also, y'all, I've been like swatching and swatching and swatching. I also rebought Inner Glow from Kierweiss to swatch against this. I'm gonna do just kind of a beige swatch fest at some point in this video because I don't know, I've just been like really getting into the nuances of those things. And also for nostalgia value, I got Amber Lights. Do y'all remember that? I mean, I don't even know if I haven't seen it in store in a long time. I could be wrong, but this is from MAC obviously. And this is just like, again, like a super nostalgic color for me. And it's gonna go with my gold jewelry and stuff today. I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna just pull this back out just in honor of the fact that ABH has released 3 new, I think, very good shades of their Smooth Blur Contour. Of course, this is halftone. This already existed, but they have 3 new ones that kind of filled in and went deeper. I have the Bespoke Merit Blush that we're gonna kind of integrate because there's a lot of blush happening today. There's a lot of blush happening today. It's not your imagination, but it is my channel, so, you know, I'm used to that. Oh, and the final thing, I bought this because I thought they were gonna send it to me. I feel like KOSAS doesn't send me stuff if they're not super proud of it. I might have the reputation for being really honest about stuff. This is the Shiny Objects from KOSAS, and I went ahead and got it in Haloed. I'll spoil it for y'all, it's a nothing burger, but we're gonna use it anyway. And other than that, I think it's gonna just be some stuff you've seen before, but that's a lot of new. So let's chat and catch up and put on some makeup, and let's go ahead and jump in. I'll link the shirt below. It's more fabulous than you even know. It's like, things have been mentally rough in my life right now, and I treated myself, okay? I'm actually gonna start with some sunscreen because it is first thing in my freaking morning. I'm trying to get this video filmed before they start working on my street outside. So I have this new SPF from Color Science. This is the No Show Mineral Sunscreen SPF 50. What I like about this, well, what I don't like about it is that they're like, oh, it's no show. No, it's not. But I like that if you don't use a butt ton, it won't spread enough. Like, you can't spread this like thinly enough to get a bad application of sunscreen. It starts to like grab. It really only wants to be a really like thick protective layer, but you can tell, I mean, it's white. I guess I could just like rub it and rub it and rub it and rub it. That is kind of what you're supposed to do. But I have liked it. Any hoodles. We're gonna go in quickly with the Lisa Eldridge Skin Tint because we don't have a new foundation today and I wanna get to this concealer and I wear this in the shade T2. So let's talk about this Milk Makeup Concealer. If you're new here, Milk and I have a mixed relationship. I have not always loved their releases. I feel like especially over the last couple of years, they were swayed more by the appeal of going viral on TikTok because that got them a lot of sales than they were necessarily focused on making like the most high performing products. So I have like a grudge against that whole philosophy. I disagree with the premise, but this is different. I just really like this. They sent me the wrong shades initially and I actually reached out to them to get the right shades because I was so excited about how the formula swatched. So it's very hydro and it's very grip. Somehow both at the same time, okay? And you know, that's always been their thing. I am currently working on my first eyeshadow palette. Let me tell you, I understand now why when a brand gets a hold of a trademark, they name everything that because trademarking is expensive and it's annoying. And so that's why everything is naked and everything is luminous silk and everything is hydro grip is because it's like, once you've got something trademarked, it's like, just milk it because it is a pain. So anyway, this is the shade 0.5 and this is the shade 2. So 2 clearly is the better match. For me, it's a much better like skin tone match, but this is a nice brightening shade if I wanted to, but that's not really what I'm going for today. So while this is in a delivery system that makes you want to do this, I don't know. I don't like tugging at my skin that hard and like trying to spread something after it's down. It's just never been my favorite thing. Plus I don't trust myself and like my very flawed eyesight to blend something perfectly. I know I'm gonna like catch myself in the mirror later in the day and be like, oh, cool. You know what I mean? Contour, concealer, blush, whatever. And it's just like a very clearly unblended line. But like, it's okay. So it's really thin and highly pigmented for something that is like this dewy. So it's like the finish is dewy. And yes, it is hydrating, but I was concerned that it was gonna be kind of like the Glossier Stretch Concealer, which I do love, but I wouldn't call it a product that's like extremely versatile. It has its like very specific use cases. I don't think that it powders super well. And when you wear it underneath your eyes, you just kind of have to like buckle in and prepare for it to crease, you know, because if you're not going to powder it, then it is probably going to crease and it is quite dewy, so it's probably going to crease. You know what I mean? It's nice that it's hydrating, but it's not exactly the longest wearing thing in the world. This is so wildly thin because you don't have to put on as much, because it's more highly pigmented. Like I'm pulling so little off the bullet and it is enough to like camouflage. Look at that. To camouflage little things like that in a way that, I mean, obviously, I don't know if everyone has a shade match in this, but this is a wildly good, like light neutral shade match. And the ones that they sent me, which were 5 and 5.5, were also, like one was a little warmer, one was a little bit more olive, but it does seem that they were not like huge leaps in color. So, suffice it to say, I am preliminarily, after I've worn this a couple of days, a big fan of this. I just think that it is really, really lovely, especially for those of us who are just like not looking for a lot. You just don't want to feel like there's a lot of makeup on your face. And I feel like it's kind of a really good compliment to the Lisa Eldridge Skin Tint, for example. It's like a very good compliment in terms of coverage. It's a very good compliment in terms of performance. It's a very good compliment in terms of the finish and everything like that. I just find that it's like, as it wears, I can't tell necessarily where the concealer was versus the skin tint because they are both like very long wearing and kind of have a similar level of hydration. So I'm like a really, really big fan of this so far. I have found it to be lovely. Like underneath my eyes, I have found that it's just not, it's so lightweight, it's so thin that it does a fantastic job of like staying out of like even the little micro creases underneath my eyes. It's great. Okay, I'm gonna throw on this ABH Contour. Y'all have seen this before, but I did want to feature it today just because, like I said, they did just release new shades in this and I do really like the formula. It's a lower pigment formula than a lot of the contours that I typically use, and I feel like that makes it really beginner friendly. And the new shades are also going to make it appeal to more people. That might not have been the right tool for that. It's a little bit more coverage, a little bit more area than I was planning for right there, but that's okay. So let's swatch these blushes real quick and I'll kind of give you a rundown on what's been going on in my life as I do so. So back in October, I had this issue where my water stopped draining from my house and there was like sewage that just poured out in my yard. Stop me if you've heard this one. I'm sure some people have experienced this before and you're all like, oh God, I know the nightmare that this is. So I ended up calling Roto-Rooter, who I have become great friends with. I give them about $1,000 a month on average. This house is 100 million years old and it's just constantly needing things replaced. But either way, I ended up having to replace the entire sewer line outside to the tune of $12,500. And that was after having to pay them to come clear the line the night before just to like snake it, which was like another $600 or something. And then they found out that the pipe underneath the road was actually crushed. And in my neighborhood, in my township, they told me that it was my responsibility basically all the way to the main in the middle of the street. Now, the wrinkle was that they had just repaved the road and they did not want to rip the road back up. And I would have had to pay to have the road replaced again and sealed and all that nonsense to make it look perfect and pay cops to be there to like guard it while they were tearing the road up. I mean, it was going to be a total of about $40,000. So what these amazing dudes from Roto-Rooter found was that they could connect to an old clay pipe that they found underneath the road that was like, you know, previously used and hadn't been disconnected or closed off. And so they were able to run my water that way. That was October, okay? Paid the money, did the thing, whatever. So then everything froze. And so we didn't really understand what, like whether it was the same issue or what, but we had to call Roto-Rooter again. They came out and it was like a new crew of people. And so they're sitting there explaining this to me, not realizing that I have already had this explained to me back in October. And I'm like, why in the heck is it the exact same issue with a different pipe? Lord knows. So it was going to be another issue of pulling the road up and everything like that. First of all, yesterday, my home insurance company got back to me and told me they're going to reimburse me for October. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm getting my money back. That's sick. Like, that's so exciting. Especially since we're like looking at like moving and buying a house. So I was like, down payment. But also after much crying and much frustration and like not being able to flush toilets and stuff like that, the city said that they were going to come pull the road up today. And they're going to replace the entire lateral pipe and they're gonna pay for it. Apparently, the other thing in my township, like two laws that really fly in the face of one another, the other law in my township is that you're not allowed to tear up the road, only the city's allowed to tear up the road. And I'm like, okay. Am I gonna get an invoice at the end of this? I don't know. I don't think so. But I called them yesterday and they were like, all right. Because we had gotten a lot of resistance from them in October and they were like, nah, we'll just come do it. And I was like, fantastic. Like, I almost collapsed from relief because this has just been so immensely stressful. Not to mention that Sunday we were dealing with water mitigation issues because everything was backing up. That's putting it nicely. And so I was carrying a bucket down, like inside and outside basically. And I was wearing my snow boots inside and I slipped on my stairs and I fell all the way down the stairs. I slipped on like the third stair, so I fell like 10 stairs. So I am so injured right now. Like I have this massive bruise on my hip and like my elbows and everything, and I'm really sore. My hands hurt and everything. So it has been so immensely stressful over the last few days. So that's where I'm at, but it is getting resolved. Jackhammers. Honestly, music to my ears. How are y'all doing? Okay, so here are some swatches. First of all, here is Sunbask. I didn't put it next to those because it's like, it's just not relevant, you know what I mean? But these are our beiges. Here we have Armani in 20. This is Harmony from MAC, which does go on peacher than you think. Like, this is not for olives unless you are looking for something that's orange. This is weirdly enough blunt, okay? This thing looks green almost in the package and it is pretty much purple on me, which is nuts. So I am peer pressuring Rebecca to buy it, but if not, like, she'll be here pretty soon and she will swatch it. We'll have a little swatch party. This next one right here is Bois, the very notoriously cool toned, you know, pale bronzer shade from Farah Hamidi. This right here is Inner Glow from Kierweiss, which is a cream, and it is just kind of known to be one of those in-betweeny what the heck is it shades, which we love. And then this one right here is Humor Me, which is, you know, said to be the dupe for the Armani. Sorry I didn't put them next to each other, but they are pretty darn close to each other. So the thing we're gonna do is start with actually blunt, and I'm gonna kind of use that as a bronzer. It's hollow, okay? And if you're unfamiliar with what I mean when I say hollow, I mean that it kind of lacks the midtones to work in a believable way on my skin, and then I will kind of fill the midtones in. So I'm gonna use this Hourglass brush. So like I said, it does not want to swatch, but it will pick up on a brush, and you'll see it even wants to stamp. Like it's very, very intensely pigmented. And I knew that it wasn't really for me, you know what I mean? But it's like I could not resist what a weird color it was. And I am, to the best of my ability, trying to like fill my repertoire in a little bit with things that even if they're not for me, they serve a purpose to swatch them just so that other people with other skin tones can see them. I can't do that, you know, for everything, but it's like if I see something that I'm like wildly interested in, I'll buy it even though it's not specifically for me. So as you can see, hollow, but like red on me because my skin has yellow in it and it's going to cancel out some of that purple and we end up with usually pink, but this is more intensely pigmented and for a deeper skin, it's richer. And so you're seeing more red, that's why. But that also means that it's probably going to be really great for olive undertones, like medium deep olive undertones. Next, I'm gonna kind of fill that with Humor Me. And this is in the mineralized blush. It's a lot easier to get like an even application of this. I think that the mineralized quality to the formula, the fact that it's like baked and has a little bit of mica in it, is just makes it spread more easily. Yeah, we're looking a little sunburny, but it's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. I've already done this look. It does come together, but it is a little sunburny. So there is that. Maybe sunbask doesn't happen today. We're already pretty far down the road because I do want to use Bespoke to finish it all off. So I don't know. So here's what we're going to do with Amber Lights. By the way, I do have the Makeup Forever blue. I have to say I'm just really strung out emotionally and I cannot do that today. Do you know what I mean? Like I tried yesterday and it almost brought me to tears. I was like real close to tears anyway. So I was just like, that's just another day. I will say though, after using it for a while, I still recommend the About Face instead. I just think the About Face is a better formula. It's more pigmented and more opaque. This goes on a little bit too sheer for me. So yeah, I wasn't that impressed with it, but it's wildly long wearing if you have the patience to build it up. So here we go with Amber Lights. This is just like, I mean, it's just this classic gold, but it's like a bronze gold. This is just like the kind of color that we were told in the early 2000s looked good on everyone. Which is so funny because we get to the 2010s. Alex and I are re-watching all of the seasons of Project Runway and you can see how fashion changes over time. And let me say, like we're in like 2010 right now and it's a hot mess. It is a hot mess. But like early 2000s, it was like you are supposed to be bronzy tan to the point of being like fluorescent orange, right? We all thought we were supposed to look like Paris Hilton. But then for some reason, by the time we got to 2010, someone told all the ladies, we need to be wearing gray eyeshadow. Everyone is wearing gray eyeshadow, whether it goes with their complexion or not. You see a lot of people also on Vanderpump Rules in like 2010, all wearing these like really, really opaque, smoky gray eye looks with black liner and black mascara. And I'm like, some of y'all could really benefit from a brown mascara. I'm just saying. It was a time period, but it is funny how like we went from warmth being the thing we all wanted to achieve to putting cool tones on our eyes. Like everyone, not just cool tones, specifically gray. So it's actually spreading out and making more of a peach on my eyeballs, which I do love. And I think I might give y'all a little bit of a sneak peek today, just a little bit of a sneak peek into a formula I'm working on. It's not the final formula, but it's like close. I'm having them kind of mix it and make it a little more nuanced, but I'm working on an eyeshadow palette right now. And one of the formulas, like there's gonna be 2 formulas in it. One of the formulas is like this, you know, kind of like soft shimmer texture sort of thing. It's not gonna be like blinding or anything. And that's why this one's a little too blinding. I'm having to mute it down a little bit, but I will say it is so long wearing. Like I said, it has been a really, really stressful weekend. And I was wearing this for a couple of days. And like by the end of the day, it was still there, not creased or anything. I'm gonna start with the KOSAS just because that's, I think, gonna be harder to apply after I put on the one that I have, but this is the KOSAS Haloed shade in their Shiny Object, and I would say it's great that it's so low-key and mild, except that it has very visible glitter in it, and I'm just like, which one is it? Is it supposed to be a really chill, mild thing that you can wear as a highlighter or an eyeshadow or whatever? Or is it an eyeshadow? Because it's like when I put on a highlighter that I want to just be a really believable texture on the skin, I don't want individual particles of glitter. And this has individual particles of glitter in it. It's getting harder and harder to be an apologist for KOSAS, okay? Okay, so I'm not gonna show you the packaging because I don't want to, like, you know, talk about my lab and stuff like that, but this is this gorgeous, this is, again, like I said, it's not the final formula, but it's this beautiful kind of like variegated shimmer. And it's gonna be even, I think, like softer than that and a little bit more pigmented, but it makes a fantastic topper in its current form. It's also got like a little bit of like a putty texture to it, but I just wanna use it as a nice little texture on the lid here, and it'll bring a little bit more of like a gold. Like this is not the color that this is going to be. This is just the color that they sent me for the lab sample so that I could try it. But like, I'm not mad at it either, you know? Not mad at that at all. So pretty. So we're nailing down the formulas and the packaging currently because that's honestly kind of the easy part. The colors are going to be the hard part. That's what's going to take a really long time. And then I think I'm going to use a little bit more of blunt in the crease so that I can get that depth on the outer corner to the same point that like we hit deep into my cheeks, because it's a lot. It is wild how this picks up so easily on a brush and will not swatch on your finger to save your life. It's a very, very interesting formula in that sense. And it's not new by any means. It's just I haven't touched one of these in a long time. That was something we talked about towards the end of the year when we were having such a dismal, unexciting set of new releases that we wanted to kind of go back and revisit some stuff. And I asked y'all, I was like, what brands are you the most excited to revisit? And you were like, first and foremost, the most votes were for MAC. So I say votes, it was just comments. But also I did go into Sephora. Like I said, I was going to in my last video, and I just touched stuff and saw a lot of the stuff that I like didn't think I wanted to buy. I went ahead and touched it anyway just to see, and boy, did I have my instincts validated. My goodness. So first of all, I touched that new Makeup by Mario cheek and lip thing, and it is just such a nothing burger. It is kid makeup in the truest sense. So I don't recommend it, and I'm glad that I didn't buy it. And then I also swatched the Rare Beauty bronzers because I was like, you know, I shouldn't be a cynic, whatever, like maybe these shades are gonna be great, and like maybe that's what makes this special. The first 2 lightest shades were so deep and so like orange. I was like, what is this? So yeah, no, that's not gonna be. All right, just doing a teeny bit of powder here. This is my KOSAS Cloud Set. Clean up a little bit. And you can see now how, since it is high contrast, we have darker blush maybe than my skin really loves, that we are going to need a little bit of blending to lower that contrast, because it's like, you know, quite sockety here and stuff like that. But allow me real quick to do my eyeliner. I was going to use the new one that I got from Sarah Creel, but this is a higher contrast look, and the Sarah Creel that I got is very beige, so we'll do that in another video because I've been really enjoying wearing it with like the taupe mascara from Urban Decay. It works phenomenally well for like a very natural looking eye look and a whole, you know, natural looking makeup look. But today I'm going to use Umber from Ravi, and I have her brush, which I cannot recommend enough. This is an exceptional eyeshadow brush for a soft wing. So I'm going to do that and my eyebrows and my mascara, and then we will come back and talk about basically Bespoke. We're going to do Bespoke on my lips, and we're going to do Bespoke on my cheeks. We will talk all about Bespoke and the new Merit formula. myself. I've calculated this right. Everything is about to really come together and kind of shift in terms of the overall temperature of this makeup look, because again, we're a little bit hollow, we're a little bit high contrast. I'm obsessed with the eye look. I love it so much. Like, it makes me so happy. For everybody who's out there who's like, you know, all her looks are the same. Yeah, but it's a really good one. So we're going to swatch real quick all the Bespokes, because Bespoke is this weird kind of purple brown. Now it does look very orange on Rebecca. Like, buyer beware, I am very neutral. So like, that's the color that it looks. It doesn't transform on my skin. It's gonna transform on like polar undertones. So this is the new lip blush formula. And I say new, it has been around, but it's only been in like special releases, holiday releases. It'll just be kind of one shade and then it'll be like limited time or whatever. And so this is the first time that we've seen these as a permanent release, as a formula in a full shade range from Merit. And I love this formula so much. The first one that I had was Archival, and I'll go ahead and swatch that as well. So Archival is this beautiful mauve. Looks very much like my natural like lip color, but it's not really highly pigmented. And so I feel like it's very easy for someone like me who's medium contrast to wear, but it also shows up enough that I think a lot of people can use it. So they are a little tiny bit different from each other. The lipstick's a little warmer than the blush, but the blush might just be a little bit more translucent. And then the lip liner's a little bit browner. I think that we will do the lip liner. I haven't done that yet. I just want to see how it looks. I've only applied the lipstick by itself, so we'll see. I'm not sure it'll make much difference because I'm gonna blur it anyway, but this is like the easiest lip liner formula to wear. It's so creamy and low pigment, and I just like that it kind of blurs the edges even more. I mean, it looks kind of poopy right now. I would be a little more careful if I was like applying something that wasn't the exact same color as this, but we can clean it up too. All right, here we go. Here we go with the lipstick. Also, my lips are dry as all get out. Like, look at that. Ooh wee. This is a pretty hydrating formula for it being as matte as it is, but God, yeah, my lips are a nightmare. Everything on me is dry right now. So that's a bit of contrast for me. And so it's like, I want to bring everything up a little bit, and I'm going to use Bespoke to do that on my cheeks. Look at that. Look at what that does. How it brings it together because it's tonal. And so I'm just applying that right at the top of the cheeks because it's gonna kind of give it that blend underneath my eyes, but also it's gonna give it like a little bit of like a sunburny local color. Do it on my forehead too. Because those beige blushes can just start to look like you're wearing a ton of bronzer or something. And I also think that after all that, I see like this really hard line above my eyeshadow, and the way that I have found to blend that is with dim light. That's what I used to blend kind of that harsh line that I had with my bronzer as well. It's not really bronzer, but you know, that darker matte color. So taking, you know, any old eyeshadow brush here, dim light from Hourglass is just going to blend those together and deepen it just ever so slightly so we don't get that like big bright line. Do you see that big bright line? That really bugs my eye. So, and I can use also a little bit of dim light underneath my eyes, and that will also help to blend. What do y'all think? Clean up around my lips just ever so slightly so that we don't look like I have a mustache. Okay, y'all. First of all, let me just say, I love it. It really goes with my tongue. It's like the color of my gums. I always say that that's like kind of the way we should go with it. People are like, your nipple. I'm like, what about your gums? I don't know. Anything that kind of like matches my gums, I'm into it. Anyway, so the concealer from Milk Makeup. Are y'all seeing that? Exactly. You're not seeing anything because there's no creasing. It's amazing. And it's thin enough that it can tolerate powder for being, I mean, tolerate, it works beautifully with it, for being something that is so hydrating. I think they struck an amazing balance. I think that they did a really good job making something that's pigmented enough that you don't have to put a ton on. I don't recommend because it is less emollient than the Glossier Stretch Concealer, and so tugging on your eye with it is still not something that I would recommend, but it's so, I mean, it's beautiful. I don't don't really know if there's like an up or down on these like MAC things that I got, like the new blushes and everything. I mainly wanted to share those with you as an extension of the beige blush swatching video, because I know that a lot of people had more questions, and it honestly sprung many more questions forth for me. And so like I've been on this exploratory mission to find more and more like nuanced beiges. So we will keep these out. We'll keep kind of comparing them. I'll be applying more of them and things like that. So hopefully that was helpful. I absolutely love amber lights. Like, I'm so glad I brought back amber lights. I will say, I don't think that this is really like worth it, in the sense of like it being a new release. It does have detectable individual glitter particles. They're very small, but I still don't want to wear it as a highlighter on the top of my cheeks because it's shimmery. It's not just, well, it's like shimmery. Hopefully that's some helpful context, but like, I think these are like 30 something dollars. I think they're out over their skis. If you're going to charge that much for it, give me something that's a little more remarkable than this. They used a lot of really flowery language to describe something that is pretty unspecial. I will say Allie's eyeliner and the little brush that came with it remain special in my eyes. And then speaking about the lip blush, especially in the colors that they put out, I've been talking to a lot of people who bought a lot of different colors, and they're all in love with the colors that they got. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks that this formula is just so fantastic, and I'm really glad, because I think that it's really special, and I'm glad that that thought seems to translate, right? Now, I will say, I have some winter lips right now. Like, they're bad. They're real bad. Like, I've been wearing all sorts of treatments and stuff overnight, and it's still just, I mean, it's wild. I mean, you're seeing it in 4K. It probably doesn't look that great, but it still feels pretty good, and I think it looks pretty good. And on any normal circumstances, when my lips were doing any better than this, it would be fantastic. It's a quite lightweight, long wearing and moisturizing formula for what it is. We are seeing a lot of these lip blush kind of formulas coming out, the new ones from Celine, the new ones from YSL, but this has no fragrance. The colors are fantastic. So it's a tough one to beat. It's a tough one to beat, especially Bespoke being the color that it is. It's really dialed in, especially for my skin tone. And I think that that is it for today, y'all. I am so glad that we were able to do this video today. I needed to get in front of this camera and talk to y'all. I need it for my soul. I start to wither when I can't talk to y'all. So yeah, I was feeling really debilitated by this injury and by just the condition of everything going on in my life with the cold and the house just not working. And I was just, I was beside myself. So this is a big morale boost for me. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here or you just haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe while you're here. We would love to have you. I'll put a video up here that I think that you will enjoy if you liked this one. And I really do want to thank y'all for being here, for bearing with me. I love you so much, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye. We did it.